Hola amigos! Hey beautiful friends, how are you? So happy to do this live stream with you today. Happy Saturday from a gorgeous fall day in Wisconsin. I just posted a video, if you haven't seen it yet. Gorgeous fall colors. It is one of the last really hot days here, and then the weather is moving colder. No me gusta. As you know, I'm a tropics gal, so I have been enjoying thoroughly over a 2-hour walk today in the woods. It was amazing. All the animals were happy. Chipmunks, squirrels, deer, like everything was so happy. Birds, and so was I. Because it felt so good right now. I wish I could send this energy to you. Can you feel it? I'll send it to you through the phone. It feels so amazing. And I've been out here, right here in the front driveway, first day of October, with a foot of snow. So the fact we're in the 80s today and tomorrow is amazing. So wherever you are in the world, say hi and share what part of the world you're joining from. I love to see my beautiful friends here, my brilliant friends and family, Facebook family around the world. Today we have an awesome part 1 of a live stream series that I'm starting that I was really inspired to share with you. Partly inspired by a book recently that I've read a couple times, and it's a free gift audiobook for those who participate in this live stream series. I'll be happy to share it with you to enrich your life and blow your mind of what's possible when it comes to leverage, scalability, optimization, and really condensing some big goals that could take 10, 20 years into a few short years. And so we're starting with some fun storytelling on the topic of leverage. Now, I would love for this to be interactive, so I welcome and encourage questions, ideas, thoughts, involvement. This is not a sermon, this is a dialogue about leverage. And we're not talking about leverage in the sense of using a lever to move something, or this is about how to really create the most optimization, to get the maximum use of something, whatever that is, entity, person, opportunity, business in your life. So that's the leverage we're talking about today, and we're starting with a nice framework before we get into Tuesday, Thursday, more of the vehicles of leverage and income producing assets and opportunities. What does that look like? Different ideas to create in your life, and also what vehicles are fruitless and utter futility, which is a lot of people going through life with no leverage, little to no leverage. So why do you want to have leverage in your life? Let's start there. Now that we know what it is in general speaking terms, why do you want to have leverage? So this is for those who either have built leverage into their lives and they see the value of it, and they actually won't touch anything unless it has leverage. Like myself, business partners, won't do it, won't touch it unless it has leverage built in. Those who want more leverage in their lives, or those who have a little bit and they're optimizing and they know they could do a much better job. And if you're just hearing about leverage for the very first time today, welcome. You might be drinking through the fire hose, and you are absolutely welcome, because this is a powerful, potent topic that affects all of us, especially those who have not created any leverage in their life. So why would you want to create leverage? Now we can look at leverage. Now, how to get the maximum use of something. It could be, for instance, for time. If you've ever hired a babysitter, someone to maybe wash or detail your car, house cleaner, chef, things that you could do, or maybe you don't want to, or you know that you have better things to do in your life to generate, to create, that will give you more of your time and optimization back. So those are points of leverage, right? I look at leverage as time and financial freedom. That's really what we're going to be focused on. around the book, the brilliant book, which I have here for you for free if you comment Scaling. I recently read the book by Dr. Ben Hardy. Tony Robbins is the intro. And it's called The Science of Scaling. And it really blew my mind. I had to read it twice to get my mind around it because it was that intense. And it changed the trajectory for both my business partners and I, and our mission and what we're doing right now and our goals. And it's just, wow. This book, it's for the elite and the visionaries and the successful entrepreneurs and business owners who value their precious life force and time and vision in life. They know what their vision is and they want to get even more crystal clear so that they can generate more. And that's another reason behind the why. To have more time in your life to do the things that you want to do. Maybe you want to invest in some passion projects or other projects that you see value in, or donate and contribute to causes that are meaningful to you, to have more resources to do so. Maybe it's, hey, I want to play with my kids and my grandkids every day. I want to get up when I want to get up and not have to wake up to an alarm and a job or a business that owns me. I want to have the time and resources, financial freedom, to do life the way I want to. And that is a lot of people right there. Even those with businesses that are making big bucks by the hour, that it still owns them until they have the leverage built in to be able to walk away and still have the resources and time. So that's another reason why it's so powerful. For me, I'll give you one of my reasons behind why I desire leverage. Well, I'm very deliberate with my time and my life force. I would say protective. I don't allow my time to be wasted because it's that precious to me. It is just so precious and dear. And you see a lot of the wealthy, extreme wealthy, will tell you the same thing. They're like, money comes and goes. I can always make more money, but time is fleeting. And so those who value their life force and their time, here we are already in October of 2025. Can you believe it? We're already in October. We're in Q4, finishing up the year. I'm going to drink my MO beverage here. I already had my smoothie. This is fresh watermelon juice from the farm, my cousin's farm down the street. That tastes amazing. Happy cells, you deserve it. And we want time. We want the vitality and the energy to go after life and do it the way that we want to. And I know people, when they start getting into their 70s and 80s, they're like, holy, I really feel like the sand in the hourglass or whatever is speeding up. They want their time back. And I even see kids now, I call them kids, late teens, 20s, that are starting to get this as well. And they're like, I don't want to age or be a slave to the job or even business like my parents and my grandparents. I don't want that same path out life. I want to be free to do life the way that I want to. And so that's why leverage is absolutely vital. Life without leverage, if you really want to go after life and have freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, create legacy for your family, your spouse, you know, your community, you're going to need some leverage, and often multiple points of it. So it's very strategic optimization, which we get into in the book, The Science of Scaling. Such a great book. A few of you are going to ask for it, and I am happy to give it with one string attached, and that is, I want to hear your feedback after you've read it. This book is so amazing. It will take you to a different paradigm if you let it. I mean, I had nights where I couldn't sleep, and I usually sleep really well because I was like, my mind was spinning, like it was turned on by this book. Like, what is possible? Because we can always generate so much more. So if you're in your late teens and you're seeing this video, or if you're, 18 to 88, whatever age, it's never too soon or too late to reinvent yourself and what's possible, because we can always do more, be more, give more, serve more in this lifetime. And that's the point. The point of it. The point of it all is expansion and experience, generosity, giving, becoming or re-remembering the best version of ourselves, self-mastery. Now that is not a mediocre lifetime. I tend to go straight to like, well, what's the point, the purpose of existence, the purpose of being here. And no, it's not just having a pile of money or a hot wife or husband or, you know, getting all the toys. And I know that life is not about that. Those things aren't bad. There's nothing wrong with those things inherently. My soul goes to what is the actual prize of this existence. And the prize, the treasure at the end of the rainbow here, my dear friends, is self-mastery. And self-mastery is going to come with experiences and expansion. And we need the time and the resources to buy and go experience all of those things, right? Like world travel. How did I create leverage in my life? We'll go into this in the next live stream Tuesday. To go travel the world for 6-7 years, perpetually, living on 2 continents. I had a home in Bali, Indonesia, and a home in Belgium, Europe. But travel all around the world, 6 continents. How did I do that? How did I do that? You know, in my late 30s, early 40s? It's building leverage, strategic leverage, and anybody can do it. And so that's why I love this topic so much. It's so key, so vital. So now we've gone over what leverage is, if you have it, if you don't have it, utter futility. It's going to mean a life often, not all the time, often with less expansion and experiences. Doesn't always take resources to get those. However, the time and the money aspect together, a lot of people are stuck working until 65, right, on that linear path with no leverage, thinking that maybe their retirement or their 401k or their pension is going to get them through. But here's the sad part and the truth, and you'll agree with me because you see this too. A lot of people are working past 70 now. I have a friend of mine who's a dentist here in Wisconsin. He's 75 and he still works 10 to 12-hour days. He still seems to not be able to or chooses not to leave his dental practice. He's 75, working that long hours. I know what he wants to do because he's told me he wants to go do photography and travel and play and have experiences and just chill out. And he's still working at 75. And I see this in a lot of stores. Elderly and retired folk are supposed to be in their golden years right now. And I see people in their 70s, even 80s, with arthritis and joints and back problems and pain, bagging groceries and moving produce and doing jobs where they should be relaxing and enjoying themselves right now. And it's sad because I know they're in pain. I know they don't want to do that. And to see the elderly in stores that can't afford to buy food breaks my heart. Okay, and that is the economy that we are in now. And just that linear path of just do my job till I'm 65 or 70 and then I can finally enjoy life. That is not a path of leverage, and that is not a path of abundance and freedom for most people. And that's just the hard truth right there. So taking a look at these things, right? Let's look into the pain and to salt the wound a little bit because it needs to get our attention. Out of love, I salt wounds out of love because it just, come on, let's take a look at this. Let's actually evaluate and dissect what's happening here and not go through life blindly like horses with the blinders on. Let's look at this. Why do we want to create leverage? And I gotta say, like, I love the 70 and 80-year-olds that all of a sudden get up, get that bee in their bonnet, and they're like, yeah, I didn't create a life with leverage, and here I am. I want to reinvent myself, and I want to have a life full of experiences and vitality and awesome things with people I love, and I'm not giving up on life just because I'm in my 70s or my 80s. And they go write books or start companies or things like that. I think, bravo to you, and bravo to the 18-year-olds and 17-year-old entrepreneurs who watch the example of their parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and say, nay, I do not want that future, that fate. I'm going to do things better. I'm going to have leverage and strategy and create freedom for myself. And we're seeing a lot of young up-and-coming millionaires in their 20s. And I think that's awesome. And I want to work with them because they get it. They get it from the pain of the example of their folks, their grandparents, their friends of their parents. They see them busting their hump with no leverage, no freedom, no time for them growing up to have all those experiences and memories. And that's painful. That is a painful reality for a lot of people. And I feel that pain. I look at it, I'm so grateful my parents, even though both of them working 2 jobs, no leverage, low salaries. One was a biology professor in college and one was a nurse, an RN, working long hours. They still made time for us kids. However, I saw the example of no leverage very early. About age 4, the B word came out in my life, and the B word was budget. And I saw how much stress and bickering and problems that caused between my parents. And I couldn't figure out, I'm like, you only get paid twice a month. It's on a Friday, and you're stressing out. It's not a lot. It's never enough. You're bickering back and forth, fighting about what's in the budget, what's not. There's always scarcity. And as I was a kid, at 4 years old, I thought, my life is not going to be like that. There's got to be better ways. In my 4-year-old mind, I'm like, there's got to be better ways to create more. I know it. Because I had friends that I thought were rich. They just had really big houses and maybe their parents were retired or, one of the moms or dads didn't have to work. So I was like going to their house awestruck, and I would ask them at a very early age, how did you make your money? This is a very wealthy house. I like it. And I would ask these questions at a young, tender age because I knew my parents weren't doing it. Their parents weren't doing it. It was scarcity, a lineage of scarcity. I think the only immediate family that I had was a great-grandparent who wrote a bunch of books. Now, books are leveraged because you publish it and you get paid royalties for life. I mean, especially if it's a well-selling book. So the only example I had in my life of leverage was great-grandparents who were authors and missionaries and teachers around the world. Actually, they spent 30 years in Peking, China, before it was Beijing. So that was the only example I had. So I saw the stress, and I bet you did too growing up. A lot of people see the stress when you're kids, that budget, and it's not enough, and we can't afford it. How many times I've heard that? It's not in the budget, I can't afford it, it's not enough money. Money doesn't grow on trees. Ooh! That scarcity program, that lack mentality can get into a kid's psyche early. But I was rejecting it from an early age. I was just like, that's not going to be me. I knew instinctively that we are abundant. And to have always proclaiming there's not enough, it's like we are rejecting what is inherently true about ourselves. And I hated that B word, budget. Told myself I was not going to end up like my parents, grandparents, in that scarcity mindset. And so I was always curious, how do people make more money? Because all I could see was the example of my parents. They go to work, long hours, they bring work home. And so my inquisitive nature started me on a hunt, an exploration quest of how do I create leverage. And I didn't even know that word when I was 4, 5, 6 years old. And I'd go into people's houses, I'd ask them, how do they make their money? By the time I was 5, my sister was 3, we were doing little odd jobs for all of our neighbors. We'd go in and say, hey, can we pull some weeds? We see you have weeds in your garden. We'll pull your weeds. We were little gardeners. We'll wash your windows, wash your car, babysit your kids, like whatever. We could walk your dog. At a tender age, we were always trying to find, we're little entrepreneurs. How can we make money? How can we create more? We didn't even know the word leverage, but we knew we wanted more than what was in our piggy banks, right? Just whatever we would get, gifts from grandparents, sneaking us money here and there. I learned about what a savings account was when I was 5, and I was enthralled by that. And I thought, this is not fast enough. My money is not growing fast enough. There's got to be better ways. Even at that age, I was already evaluating, how to create more. And I was like, no, this interest is not enough to create what I want. Hi, George. How are you? Hi, Ingborg. Welcome. You guys walked into a great theme. The power of leverage. Say hi, where you're joining, what part of the world. I love to see comments, questions, stories shared. This is a dialogue here that we're having, not a sermon. And it's such a powerful topic that affects all of us. And my intention here is for you to walk away with so many meaty gems, including the free audiobook, which is a gift for everybody here on the live stream. You just got to comment book or scaling. Let me know you want it, and I'll send it to you. That life is so precious. Time is fleeting. So yes, let's build leverage into our lives. And I know you have stories too. That's why I'm sharing some stories right now from my past, because we have these memories as we're kids when we first learn about the B word, budget, or scarcity, or not enough, and wanting more, and being willing to go out and create more income, because whatever the what is it called? I forget the word. What kids get paid, allowance, is not enough. The savings account was not enough. Gifts from grandparents, all I knew was scrimp and pinch. I was not enough. So there was quite a bit of negative financial programming and baggage that I've had to shed and be aware of from an early age. And I know I'm not the only one. I know a lot of you have also had that experience. I have grandparents of the Great Depression. So starting at age 5, I would find odd jobs to do for the neighbors. And then I went into school at age 6. And I'll tell you what, I was a cute little 6-year-old, and I got probably out of any 6-year-old in school the most amount of doors slammed in my face. Mean nose. At age 6. Because here's why. I was in Pathfinders, which is like Boys and Girls Girl Scout together. We always did food drives, canned food drives, door to door, bike-a-thons, walk-a-thons, everything-a-thon to raise funding. And so I got my resilience muscle as a 6-year-old with all the doors slammed in my face really early got built. My resilience got built fast. I didn't cry. I didn't like, oh no, one rejection. Better quit. Nope, on to the next house. And when any chance at 6 years old, we had fruit cake. Who sold fruit cake when you were in grade school? That cake, Christmas cake they have, lots of fruit and syrupy, sweet nuts. Actually pretty good. It's the only time I eat it. I was so enthralled as a 6-year-old when they brought fruit cake for me to sell to my friends and family and neighbors and door to door. And I was highly competitive. I'm like, I'm getting to the top of that pay plan. I'm going to win. Because I saw the vision of what I could create, even though there was not a lot of leverage there, just linear sales, right? Who sold something when you were a kid in grade school? Magazines, subscriptions, Tupperware, I don't know what. Fruitcake. Drop a yes if you sold something in grade school, even if you're watching this on the replay. I want to hear what you sold. I saw the opportunity and I was like, well, I'm not making enough money scrubbing windows and pulling weeds here for my neighbors. I'm like, here's an opportunity for me to create more leverage. And I went after those fruitcake sales, door to door. At that time, I was not old enough to go by myself, dragging my mom or my dad with me. Let's make some sales. Got to get to the top of the pay plan. I see the vision. I sold whatever our school brought in. And I always saw the vision of creating more. So one more story I want to share real quick of our youth, because this is what shapes us. When you start thinking as a child, I don't want to be on a budget. I don't know who has gone through this experience, but who's willing to be vulnerable and share. Go ahead, be vulnerable. That's how we learn from each other. Going into a restaurant, which I hardly ever did as a child because we just didn't have enough money. It wasn't in the budget to eat out. Cheers. Fresh watermelon juice. But whenever we did go into a restaurant, it was always eyes to the right. Eyes to the right. What is the cost? And there was a limit, about what we could always get. No, Amy, that's too expensive. You can't have an appetizer and a drink and an entree and dessert. That's way too expensive. Who's ever been raised that way, right? Maybe you're raising your kids that way. Maybe you have taken that in to your own family life. That programming is something to be alert of. Having to look at the cost of something on a menu. Wouldn't you like to never ever have to look to the right and you could buy whatever you want, treat the whole family, friends, big groups, doesn't matter. You have so much abundance from the leverage that you strategically created in your life, income producing assets, plural, that you never have to look at the right side of a menu to see what it costs before you decide to order it. You just enjoy with your friends, your family, your whomever, business partners, the abundance and the deliciousness of meals together, breaking bread together, and never worrying about, is that going to hit the credit card? Is it going to be too much? What you're going to have to scrimp and pinch in the budget to make up for what you just paid for a night out. We know what that feeling is like, unless you were raised in a wealthy family that has leverage, to be programmed as a child, right? Not enough. Scarcity is a story that most of us have. And that's why I'm talking about the power of leverage, because we can break that cycle. If you were raised that way, you don't have to take that into the rest of your life. You can break that cycle now, and we're going to be talking about practical ways to do that, income producing assets and leverage and vehicles this Tuesday, part 2. Stay tuned for that. Yeah, so I've had so many memories about, and here, one more quick story. I'm telling storytelling because, like I said, this is going to jog memories for you too growing up. There was this, when I was 9 years old, a special summer camp that my parents thought was expensive, but all the kids in our school would get to go, at least the ones who had enough money, to the special summer camp. Some would go for a week, some for a month. 1 week was expensive for my family. I really wanted to go to summer camp. There was like this gymnastic camp I wanted to take, and horseback riding and photography, and that's where all the cool kids were. I wanted to go. Well, my parents, back to, God bless them, it's not in the budget, but there's 4 of us kids, 2 parents working jobs that did not create a lot of income and no leverage. But at that time, I was old enough and trustworthy enough and resourceful enough for me and my girlfriend, who also came from a poor family. We both had the goal of going to summer camp. We walked around a radius of about 6 miles, maybe more than that, in our school and church area. So it was pretty safe. And this is what we did at 9 years old, okay? This is the genius of when you're brought up on a budget and you've got a goal and you want to create more. We became the most excellent little entrepreneurs and salespeople. And really what selling is discovering a problem, finding a problem that someone has, or a business, and solving it for them. That's what sales is. Finding a problem that someone wants to fix and helping them fix it. And so we became brilliant and masterful walking these neighborhoods day after day after day. And we'd go in and we were like, hey, so-and-so, I'm Amy, this is so-and-so, and our goal is to go to summer camp. So we're out here and we are, creating our own ability, our own resources to self-fund to go to summer camp. So here's who we are, this is what we're doing, and why. We really want to go to summer camp. Our parents can't afford it. And we'd love to work for you. And we just happened to notice you've got 2 cars out here who are really dirty. We are excellent at washing cars, detailing cars. We can do that for you right here. So you don't have to go take it out to the gas station or wash or whatever, or pay big bucks to some, detail company. We'll do it here for you. We'll make it easier for you. So we're selling the solution already to their problem. And then we say, we noticed your windows are dirty and you've got a lot of weeds here, some landscaping. Maybe you need trees trimmed, trash taken out. You probably got some things inside your house that need cleaning and organized or worked on. So we would go and cherry pick what we could see, point out their problems for them. They'd acknowledge the problems. Hey, C, welcome. Hi, Yolanda, welcome to a great topic here. And I would say like 98% of the time we got hired. 9 years old. What an entrepreneur. And I worked my butt off. And I just expected a close ratio of like 98%. Did I get a few doors slammed in my face? Yes, but I've been having doors slammed in my face since I was 6 years old. My resilience muscle is well built. And that's something I think kids really need. They need to have that sting of rejection and no and door slam, because it builds that resilience, that mental toughness within, right? And so over the course of that summer, we created more than enough to go for 2 weeks each to that summer camp, just by being little entrepreneurs. So here's the thing that I want to tell you. That's linear, okay? That's trading time for dollars, which is utter futility. You'll never get ahead. I'll never get ahead if I just trade time for dollars, right? And that's the path that most people are on right now. The linear path of trading time for dollars, renting their mind and body to someone who does not appreciate them or treat them, appreciate and give them what they deserve, right? They can be replaced so easily. It's another reason to have leverage. If you've ever been fired from a job, that's my next story. Ooh, we're already at 30 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna speed it up a little here. Part 1, we're laying the groundwork for this series. Part 2, we're getting into more of the metrics of scalability, vehicles, leverage, and what that looks like. How do you create, and what are those options? What do those look like in your life? Whether you're 17, a budding entrepreneur, or you're 70 or 80 and you want to create more leverage in your life and income producing assets now. Never too late, never too early. I was an entrepreneur since 6 years old, 5 years old. But my problem, and here's the problem that I discovered in all this hustle at 9 years old, cleaning houses, landscaping yards, detailing cars, is that was trading time for dollars. It was linear. There was no leverage. And in my mind, I cooked up a plan, which I didn't have time to implement, but I'm like, I'm great at procuring work. I'm great at sales, at procuring by digging up the problem and showing that in a way that salts the wound to the owner of that home or car. And I solve the problem for them. And they trust me, they like me because I'm in the neighborhood, I go to school with their kids maybe, or the same church. They believe in my vision for going to summer camp. That's why I'm raising the money. They want to help me. So 98% close ratio kept us very busy. So in my mind, I thought I could have a team of kids that also have a why. Maybe they want to go to summer camp too. Maybe they want to buy a bike or a car or whatever. I could train a team of kids that I vet in their ability to do these types of jobs, and I would take a cut of their commission because I would procure them the jobs because I was good at that at age 9. Just walking it up to a house and solving a solution for them. And so I could have a team of kids that I hire, and I take a cut of everything because I'm the one that found them the work. This is how my brain is creating leverage at 9 years old. Did anybody else do that? I would love to hear your stories. You maybe you had a paper route and you had a bunch of other kids doing paper routes for you, so you got an override. See, that's leverage. Or like the Babysitters Club, that book we read growing up. There's leverage. 2 girls create a club of babysitters, which, everybody needs a babysitter these days. And they had a team of girls that they vetted. And so they were able to procure the work for the babysitters. And hire out the girls and get an override on it, right? You know, that's like 10, 11, 12-year-old girls thinking leverage. So, and it's just brilliant. I love so much to see when young kids start thinking this way, right? And they're great at social media. They're thinking way ahead of what their parents, grandparents were doing. They want freedom, and this is ultimately what we're talking about here, is freedom in every sense of the word. To do life on your own terms, to create the most amazing experiences and expansion and memories with those you love. And that's why we need leverage. So I went to school, I got a degree. I got my degree in 3 years versus 4 in journalism. Why, oh why did I get a degree in journalism? If I did it again, I would not go to college. That's right, I said that. You can quote me there. I would not go to college if I did it again. I'm not going to put it down, and I'm not going to go into why, but so there's some leverage right there. 3 years versus traditional 4. And it's not because I was highly intelligent. I'm not saying that I'm dumb. I could figure out how to understand what each professor wanted in their course and how to take their test to pass the test. Now, college isn't really set up for your wisdom, what you really know. It's just a training ground to help you hopefully think for yourself, right? What are you actually going to remember out of college? I became really good at taking tests and really good at reading my professors. And that is one of the reasons I was able to get through school so fast. And unfortunately, I went straight into the JOB, trading time for dollars, no leverage, and I hated it. And so I had just gotten hired to a new job. So one of my last stories here before we finish up, because this all goes back to the stories that we have as we're learning about ourselves and how money works, how time freedom works, leverage, having it without, or what does life look like without it, right? And I bet you guys have so many stories too. Your catalyst moments where you woke up and you realized, like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is beneath me. I am worth more. And every soul is worth more. Every soul is precious. That's why this is such a potent, powerful topic. Share this live stream, by the way. That's leverage right there. We're getting a really powerful message out to the people. This could be something that someone just needs to hear today. And you're the one that gets to share it with them, either on your wall or privately. That's leverage, repurposement of content. This is also going to get uploaded to my YouTube, and I'm going to chop it up for sound bites. Leverage, right? Content is always working for you, working while you sleep, especially if you really know how to do it well. And start training your mind to think in leverage, right? Share this video. Share this video because this is the messaging that people are looking for. They're hungry for opportunity and to create more in their life and less suffering. So thank you in advance for sharing. You've been a little quiet. I would love to hear your thoughts, your stories, truly. So heading into one of my JOBs, I was working in business development for a credit union. I was 24 years old. And at that same time, I had realized, because I wanted to buy my first home, and I did when I was 24, bought my first home. That was a catalyst moment, because I had a really sucky realtor who didn't tell me anything about the process or educate me. So I had to educate myself when I bought my first home. And I was enrolled in the local college to get my MBA in business, because that's what I thought I needed to do to get a higher paying job. So I was going to get my MBA, thinking that was the route. Real estate can be leveraged, especially you have rental property, right? Or you experience a lot of growth. So real estate can be leveraged. I was 24, working for a credit union in business development, and I have this proclivity, I'll call it a gift, and I'm able to walk into companies or homes or wherever and see inefficiencies and holes in the boat like that. It's just how my mind is wired. And I'm wired to create the most of leverage and efficiency and not waste time, precious time and life force. It's just how I'm wired. I walked straight into this credit union, and it was a big credit union chain across the Bay Area in San Francisco, California, the Bay Area. And I immediately saw inefficiencies and holes in the boat. Here I am, a 24-year-old girl walking in, and in the business development department especially, and I took my own time to write a report with research and proof and evidence and these solutions to all their holes in the boat. I spent a lot of my own personal time writing this huge report and plan to help them fix their problems, which were not just affecting me and limiting my ability to really grow this company for them. They were shooting themselves in the foot in so many different ways. So it's how my mind's wired. I walk in, I see it. I've actually been hired as a consultant by 2 different people to help them dissect their lives to see where they had inefficiencies, their holes in the boat. Now that was interesting. It's just how I'm wired. It's easy for me to see, and then obviously come up with solutions to help solve those. So when I delivered this report, I was so proud of myself. I'd spent my own personal time, and I had all the right suggestions and solutions to solve this. And I delivered it to the director of our department, and it went straight up to the CEO. A couple days later, I'll never forget it, I get called into the director's office, and guess what happened? I got fired. They did not like a 24-year-old little girl coming into their company with such blatant honesty and probably a little lack of diplomacy, but everything was there. It was all proof, evidence of their holes in the boat and their inefficiencies and how to fix them. But coming from me, they didn't like it. And so I got fired, and I will never forget that day. I walk in, fired, and I couldn't believe it because I had done such a good favor, a deal for them to fix the company. And I'd spent my own precious time putting it together. You know, it was my life force, my soul in that report. So I got fired, and I'll never forget that day because it was the day right after I got fired. I had happened to have a root canal scheduled, so it was like back-to-back pain. But here's the good thing about that pain. That was a catalyst moment in my life because I realized, like, I don't ever want to work for the man where I can just get fired or downsized because I'm doing something so well and they don't like it, some obscure reason or no reason. There's no leverage there. And I've been fired a few times, enough to know to never have a job, trading time for dollars, not appreciated, and can be gone like that. So that was a catalyst moment in my life. Also, when I had just bought my first home right before I got fired, the wheels started turning like, hey, I could do real estate. There's more leverage in that, right? And we're going to talk about real estate leverage vehicles on Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. Ooh, it's going to be a good day. But what happened? So I got fired, and that also caused me to go get my real estate license. At that same time, as I was enrolled to get my MBA in business, because I thought I had to have that to get a higher paying job, I read a book, and I want to know if you've read this book too. It's called Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read that book. Who's read that book? Raise your hand, say yes if you drop a yes in the comments if you've read Cash Flow Quadrant. I realized I was in the wrong quadrant. And that one really opened my eyes to leverage, the power of leverage. And I'm like, oh, I'm going about this the wrong way. I dropped out of MBA school, got my real estate and my broker's license like that because I'm really good at taking tests. It's just how my mind works. I can see intuitively and re-engineer or de-engineer, deconstruct what the testing system is like, because it's not about knowledge. It's about giving the right answer. And that's why I can go into these tests, and I would ace tests all the time in college, and real estate license, broker's license, insurance license. I could probably get my 6 and my 7, seriously, like nothing, because I see how the tests are designed and I can deconstruct them. It's not about what you know, really. It's like how you play the game. Isn't that interesting? You probably didn't know about that about me. This is a fun get to know ya. And that's why I'd love to hear your stories too, stories growing up. Anyway, so I got my real estate license and decided that that would be the new vehicle for leverage. Definitely better step up from a job that they can just boom fire me on the fly for anything. And then I still stayed friends with my director. The company came to me years later after I blew it up in real estate, just success right out of the gate. And I'm going to tell you why and how, because if you want to have success, this is the key right here in anything you do. I posted it on my wall yesterday. He came to me kind of sheepishly and he's like, yeah, I fired you. And he goes, I feel like Michael Jordan's high school coach in high school fired him off the high school team. And then Michael Jordan goes on to be, I'm not saying I'm Michael Jordan, but goes on to be the phenom that he is. He's like, look at you, I fired you and you went and had massive success in real estate. Like, and he goes, I had to tell you, like, everything that you wrote in that report that we fired you for, and all the solutions, we pay this outside marketing and R&D firm $50,000, which was about what my salary was then with that company. $50,000 to tell us exactly what you told us with the same solutions, but we paid him $50,000, and I'm like, well, you could have just listened to me and paid me that. But I'm glad that I got fired, because that was a catalyst to get me moving into the right direction, a different path, a vehicle with more leverage. Still not the ultimate, and I'll tell you that story on Tuesday. But it did get me thinking about leverage, and I was in the wrong vehicle, in the wrong quadrant, Rich Dad Poor Dad cash flow quadrant. And this is just fuel for the fire to start thinking about in your life, right? And if I shared any of these stories when I was a kid growing up, and it triggered some stories for you, whether it be about budget, growing up in a household of scarcity, never being able to go out to eat because everything was too expensive on the menu, no vacations, just lack. That's something to really dissect within yourself if you still have those programs running, because you don't want to pass them on to your kids, your grandkids, your spouse, anyone around you. You really want to release those, work that out and within yourself. And we'll talk more about that too, because we're going to get into abundance mindset down the road in this series as well. This is a gem-packed series. I would love to hear in the replay some more comments, stories, questions. You're welcome to get the free gift, the book, Science of Scaling. It's a life-changing book. Just put a comment in here, book or scaling. So share this message. Share this with someone you know that desires leverage and freedom in their life. And it's going to have far more tangibility. Tuesday is part 2, 11 a.m. Central. Thursday will be part 3, and then we'll move on to the next Saturday. This is a 2-week series, Livestream series on this topic, this powerful, potent theme that affects all of us and really affects us if we don't have leverage, truly. So thanks for joining me on part 1. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful Saturday wherever you are. If you're catching the replay, share this live stream. Hi, Alawa, welcome. Are you in Tanzania? East Africa. Yeah, so all my friends around the world, hello from one of the most gorgeous fall days I have ever seen in October here in Wisconsin. It's going to be hot, like 83 or 84. No piles of snow. I've already been walking for a few hours. I'm going to soak this up. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So from my heart to yours, I hope you enjoyed this. If you're just joining our live stream now, go back and watch from the beginning. It's loaded with gems. You're going to really love it. So much value here. Share this live stream with others. Comment, questions, all of it. This is meant for engagement. In fact, I really enjoy interaction with people on live streams. And I get to practice with you. It helps me. So thank you for that. Become a better speaker. From my heart to yours, more compelling, more dynamic, more powerful, and obviously without notes. This is just off the cuff, right? From me to you. So thank you for joining, and I will see you Tuesday, 11 a.m. Central on part 2.